Woo! All right. What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here. Hope you all are having a wonderful evening. I hope your Thursday was eventful and full of lots of great stuff. I'm going to go ahead and cheers you guys with my nightly cup of decaf. I don't actually have decaf every night. I don't drink coffee like all the time, every single day. But it has been unrealistically and uncharacteristically cold for Southern California today and over the last couple days, especially at my house, because we cleaned the carpets with a carpet scrubber shampooer thing. So to dry everything out, we've had windows open all night long. And God, it has been just absolutely unbearable with the way that the weather has gone to have to deal with that kind of cold. It's not fun. So regardless of that, we are here and we're going to have some fun. As the title for the live stream says, we are going to be talking about my best and worst of NAMM. It's been 2 weeks now since the NAMM show. You'll have to forgive me as I kind of am not looking at the camera right now. I'm going to go ahead and share this on Facebook so some more people can join in the fun with us. But yeah, NAMM, it was 2 weeks ago, and some things have gone down since, and I've just been working hard trying to get these videos done. There are a lot going on. Hold on one second. This whole live show admin kind of thing is sort of different for me, you know? How's everybody doing with the audio? You guys doing all right out there and everything coming through loud and clear? Please let me know. Want to make sure that these streams are doing all right. All right, we got some people watching. How's everybody doing out there tonight? That does not sound bad, does it? Yeah, that is surprising, isn't it? Actually, let's go ahead and start with some cool NAMM souvenirs that I got. Not like my best or my necessarily most favorite things, but some things that definitely lean towards the, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. Doing this whole like YouTube demo thing, pedal companies like to send me home with pedals, and I made some friends with KMA audio machines. So Enrico, thank you so much, my friend. It was great to finally meet you in person, and I had a lot of fun watching your stuffs. And he sent me home with a couple new pedals that we're going to be taking a look at, and they're both fuzz pedals. I have a theme with these NAMM things. People sent me home with a lot of fuzz. So we have the KMA Audio Machines Fuzzly Bear, which is probably one of the coolest looking pedals I've ever seen in my entire life. There's two LEDs, and they're the bear's eyes, and when you click it on, it's an angry, angry bear. And then we have the Minos Germanium Fuzz, which I've been having a lot of fun experimenting with, especially with different guitars. It's a very interesting sort of tone shaper in that regard. So KMA sent me home with these. I've been having a lot of fun with them. We will demo them in more detail on future episodes of Stompbox Saturday. One coming out of nowhere, not really nowhere. I kind of knew that it was coming. My good friend Joel Jones from Simple Amps, who is actually the guy that got me started 10 years ago working in the gear business, has a friend or maybe a student of his that builds pedals. And his company is called I Am Audio Effects. And when I show you this pedal, you'll understand why the company is called I Am. It's called the Righteous Fuzz. And in case you really can't figure out what that is on the artwork, that's the main man JC right there. It's Jesus. So it's called the Righteous Fuzz, and it sounds really, really cool. It's got a germanium and silicone selection on there. I'm guessing that the controls are volume, fuzz, and depth. It's basically just labeled VFD, volunteer fire department, for any of you series of unfortunate events fans out there. I'm a weirdo. I like cool. I like weird and interesting stuff. So this has really been fun to listen to. I played this back at the LA Amp Show and had a lot of fun running it into 3 different amplifiers. It was pretty cool. We're going to take a look at this more in depth as well and see what else we can get out of it. I have another NAMM souvenir from, wow, we got 8 people watching. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Feel free to chime in at any time. We're going to be going for a while here, at least an hour. So please, if you want to ask any questions about NAMM, about the things I saw at NAMM, please do so. I have the whole chat running right now. There we go. Oh, finally. You know what? Jesus, man. This YouTube admin thing it had me on the top chat and I couldn't see any of this stuff. All right, we got, I need to just say hey to everybody that's here. We got Aaron from Albus Band. What's up, buddy? Haven't forgotten you. I'm getting those giveaway things in the mail tomorrow. We got Ben Coombs. Ben, thank you so much for the shout outs and thank you for joining me. I know that this is probably you like staying up pretty late, but I really appreciate it. We got Milan. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Jay Steen, I got you, buddy. I got you. I see you. Thank you so much. And Charlie S. Hey, Charlie, how you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for joining in. I really, really do appreciate it. And Ben was live earlier, by the way, for 2.5 hours. So that's quite a little bit of a feat. So thank you, Ben, seriously, for joining this. I really do appreciate that. So one other NAMM souvenir, just moving on. Now that I can actually see everybody talking, this is great. Boss was kind enough to let me hold on to the DC2W that I demoed back in, what was that? September, October. This was the one of the 2 Wazacraft pedals that were released around that time that really blew me away. And this is just some transcendental modulation-ish going on right here. Man, just so much good stuff. And I got a really low serial number, which is pretty remarkable in terms of a Boss pedal. It's the camera probably will not even be able to catch that. Even if I tried, no one would really be able to see that. But it's serial number 00063. I don't think I've ever gotten a Boss pedal with that low of a serial number before, but this thing, so happy to have it in the collection, and I'm pretty stoked on it. There is one last NAMM souvenir, and let's see. There's been quite a few comments about the tone that I played with at the beginning of the live stream, saying that it sounds good. Would you guys like to know what this sound was made with? Because I think you're going to be kind of surprised. I know I'm surprised, and I've been having a really fun time with this one. So yeah, if you want to know, I'll share it. And it's actually another NAMM souvenir. I will say that the delay right off the bat is an MXR carbon copy, which I think the MXR carbon copy is pretty much like the best analog delay of like the last 15 years. It's really hard to argue with it. I got mine probably, geez, the year it came out, within a few months, and it's been on so many different pedal boards of mine, and I love it. I think it sounds great. But what you're hearing is a combination of that. Whenever you hear something, I have the Nux Solid Studio running. Let's see, we got the 1960 cab model EL34 power amp simulation. We're using the R121 mic simulation on it, centered on the virtual speaker. I have the master running full up on Solid Studio, got the drive going straight up 12 o'clock, and then the presence is at 3 o'clock. Now, this is the real clincher. This is the real, like, WTF moment. Are you guys ready for this? Because I don't think you are. I really don't. I don't know how many people are going to be ready for this. The gain tone that you're hearing at the top of the video, when you go back and watch this, or if you tuned in live, dun, dun, dun! It's a Boss HM2, people. What you were hearing right at the top of the video was a Boss HM2. Sure, it can do the Swedish buzzsaw thing. And you know what? No, just don't. Just don't. These are the settings that I used at the top of the video. I didn't change anything. Yes, oh my god, I'm so glad that everybody is getting WTF'd by this. Because okay, first off, I want to say a huge thank you to Jason Mcnamara. I don't know how many of you guys know of Jason Mcnamara, but Jason is an Aussie living in Tokyo. He used to work for Ishibashi Music, doing video stuff. And Jason I love the guy. I love him. He's become a really, really great friend and someone that I really enjoy talking to. But even by his own admission, he can have a bit of an abrasive personality. But he has really become a friend, and he's really become someone that I rely on. And this was actually a gift from him. After I had done my Metal Zone video where I plugged it into the power amp of my rocker verb, I was trying to find, all the different Boss metal pedals so that I could actually, try them out. And he had an HM2, and he decided to bring it with him from Tokyo to the NAMM show. And now it's mine, which is pretty rad. And those are the settings that you heard. Gain and volume pretty much running around 3 o'clock. Dial the lows back to about, I'd call that like 10, 11. And then highs straight up at noon. So there you go. I mean, if that's as big a surprise as any for the night, I mean, we could probably just end the live stream right now, and we could just all marvel at the fact that, holy crap, the Boss HM2 actually doesn't sound like complete and utter crap. Anyway, so there we go. Let's go over to the chat, and I want to see who else has kindly joined us. I saw Charlie come in here. We got Zachary Fleming joining us. Zachary, thank you so much for joining in. Evan Ward commenting with the best chorus. Yes, I have to say the DC2 is definitely a fine modulation pedal, but it's not actually a chorus. That's one thing I want to point out. I actually found out a little bit more about that the other day when I met up with a friend from Boss. Terry's GG and DG. Thank you so much, my friend, for coming in. I really do appreciate that. And hey, I just appreciate having a lot of guys here. Dan Murray, hello from Vancouver, BC, and hello from Orange County, Southern California. Thank you so much for joining in the fun. I am very happy to see that you guys are having a good time in the chat, and happy to see that you guys are enjoying yourselves so far. I'm enjoying myself so far. So, I want to actually, before we move on to the meat and potatoes of this, Evan just said, no wonder I'm not a big chorus guy. And that's because actually what's happening in the DC2 is it's 4 different low frequency oscillators running and doing some various kind of, it's almost sort of like they're doing a phase shifting kind of thing, but it's when they come together and they cross over and they start canceling each other out. That's where you're kind of hearing that chorusing effect. However they're doing the thing it's more our brains perceive it as chorus. So that's really kind of like a detune. Exactly, Ben. Exactly. But it's just, if you haven't played one of these, you owe it to yourself to try it. My God, especially in stereo. That was one thing I was not prepared for, was not ready for the sort of otherworldly idea of hearing just ungodly amounts of things going on. Now that you guys know it's an HM2, does it sound as good? We don't have to get into that debate. Anyway, so let's talk NAMM, because it was 2 weeks ago and a lot of stuff has happened since then. I have a best and a worst, like most everybody does. And if you guys were at the show, I know Ben was there, and unfortunately we did not get a chance to meet up. But please, whatever you've seen, let me know your thoughts on what you enjoyed seeing from NAMM. First and foremost, I will say more NAMM videos are coming. I'm trying to basically put up one a day for the next month. I filmed around 33, and so we're kind of, what are we, like 10 videos or so deep. Today we went, had a nice video with Ken Haas from Reverend Guitars, and we saw a bunch of the new Reverend models, which are very, very nice indeed. So I think it's best to get sort of the bad out of the way first, and talk about what I didn't necessarily enjoy at NAMM, and we can spend more time on the positive side of things. So first and foremost, I really hate to put it this way, but I was really underwhelmed and slightly disappointed with Fender this year, which I was really hoping not to, because going into it, there was a lot of buzz around the alternate reality series that they were putting out. And we were seeing a lot of different pictures of some of the new Squires coming out just beforehand. And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's just the way that their booth is laid out that I just didn't really see anything, or whether it was just so crowded that I couldn't conceivably see anything. But I felt like I couldn't do anything in Fender's room. I couldn't pick anything up. There were pedal boards there with the new pedals, which I will go on record as in saying that the pedals that have been released from NAMM last year throughout the year have been very, very good. The Pugilist Distortion is a very good distortion pedal, especially for the fact that it's $100. The Santa Ana Overdrive sounds great. Not a very big fan of the mirror image delay or the marine layer reverb, but they're still very, very good. But I couldn't plug in the pedal board to an amplifier. There was nobody demonstrating the pedals that would allow me the time to actually plug them in. And if I wanted to pick up anything, it was very limited in what you could actually pick up and play, which was very, very insulting. In a way, I really hate to, I really hate to be this way about it, just because I don't want this to become like I'm such a Gibson boy and I hate Fender so much, because it's really not about that. It's just about them not having anything really out there. And a couple missed marks, and I see some comments coming in. This Telesonic, everybody has their own feelings on it, and everybody has their what they think is right about it. I want to start off by saying, first off, the guitar looks cool. It actually does look cool, and I loved that they had ones that had some nice exotic wood tops. The rosewood boards on them had a little bit of some striping to it, and it was actually a very, very comfortable guitar to play, which I really, really love. Um, However, the the unplugged tone was very underwhelming, to the point which, of course, it's a thin body acoustic guitar, so it's not going to resonate like a full sounding dreadnought acoustic guitar, but it's more about the way they market it and the end result. Now, not to veer too much into the skid of my life, but I've worked in this gear and music business and entertainment in general for the better part of the last 12 years of my life. And I spent a lot of time interning in the marketing world. And I've taken subsequent classes and learned a lot in terms of marketing, in terms of advertising, because that's basically what marketing is. Well, that's basically what advertising. Anyway, the point is, a lot when you put something out, you really need to authentically represent it, especially in this day and age. And when you don't have something that fits sort of this authentic way, you end up running into issues, because these days it's very easy for people to see through the bullshit. It's very easy to sift through the crap. Um, and to me, the thing that really killed me was, okay, it's got acoustic strings on it. Even though the neck played really well, even though the guitar felt comfortable, it's nice and lightweight, it's got this electric pickup in it. Have you ever put acoustic strings on an electric guitar? They don't always sound good. And there was nowhere to plug it in, of course, unless you were, one of their demo guys, of course. And I couldn't really. I played 10 to 52 strings on this Les Paul and most of my guitars, and I'll even play those in standard pitch. I don't care. I've played 11s. My 7 string has 11s on it right now. I didn't feel like I could bend that well. So I'd love to hear it with electrics on it to see how that translates. And I saw somewhere that someone had done a video on it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Aaron's right. Chapman did have one with electric strings on it. I have not watched it yet, but I'm gonna go and listen to it for myself. So we'll see. So that's kind of my biggest worst of with NAMM, a very missed mark with Fender, where it just seemed very unfriendly to go into that booth and to want to check something out. On the flip side of that, however, the Fender family of brands, meaning Charvel, Jackson, EVH, and Gretsch, those guitars in a much smaller room across the hall from Fender, they're hanging up there on the wall, and you can just take them off the guitar rack. You can shred away on them as long as you want. I heard guys cranking the 5150s in the EVH section, and the people working in those brands are totally happy to answer your questions, talk about the stuff, and let you actually play the things. But for some reason, Fender doesn't want you to do anything. Another completely missed mark in the Fender room was the Jimmy Page Telecaster. How many of you, and I want to see some responses before we move on, how many of you knew before NAMM that there was going to be a Made in Mexico version? I didn't. I want to see how many of you actually knew that there was going to be a Made in Mexico version before we move on. Ben knew. Anybody else know? I was at Anderson's. Nope. Dan knew. How many more of you? Nope. We're getting pretty much consistent 50-50. Yeah, it seems it's pretty evenly split. Oh, now we're getting a few more no's because I didn't know. Yeah. So there, right there is a case study in marketing and advertising for you guys right there. Very simple and doesn't take a whole lot of time to figure out. More than half of us did not know that not only was Fender's custom shop going to do 2 versions of Jimmy Page's Dragon and Mirror Telecaster, but that they were going to do Made in Mexico versions as well. I found out by walking into that room, walking around the corner from where they were displaying the beautiful custom shop, and there it is hanging on the wall. And all I was thinking, oh my God, I can actually touch this one. And I touch it and I feel it, and I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, this is kind of cool. I look at the back of the headstock. Oh, it's made in Mexico. So I don't know what it is. I don't know where they seem to not be like getting with the program here, but for all the flack that people gave Gibson over the last year and a half, and believe me, Gibson was very out of touch for the last year and a half. We cannot deny that. And I, as a Gibson fan, am not going to deny that. This year, Fender felt very out of touch. And it felt like they didn't care. And it felt like they didn't really, they were more focused on, they made beautiful guitars, but they didn't care about anybody other than the people at retailers that were actually going to buy it from them. That's just me. So that was my big worst of NAMM was Fender. And I hate to say that because I really want to like Fender. I really, really do. Sitting in that gig bag back there is that Jennings Navigator Telecaster style that I demoed a few weeks back, which once this video is done, and I'll put cards on it and you guys can watch that demo. I fell in love with that guitar. I fell in love with that Telecaster, and it's just I love the Telecaster. I would love a Jazzmaster. And a builder that I really admire, Ron Thorn Guitars, was brought in last year as a Fender custom shop luthier, and he builds some really, really killer, really fantastic guitars. But man, it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel like they really, really cared. Yeah. Anyway, little lament lick there for you. Let's see. A lot of you have been saying some stuff, and I want to actually go back into this and see. I didn't act Terry, I didn't actually see what the retail price of the dragon is gonna be. What is that price? What's that gonna end up being? Lots of yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So anything else that I would say is worst of NAMM? Very interesting. There's a lot more that I can say positively about this show than I can say negatively about this show. And that is a very wonderful thing. It really is. And the NAMM vibe has definitely been increasing over the course of the last few years. So, okay, Terry has commented with what he saw that the Jimmy Page Telecasters made in Mexico are going to be. We have $13.99 for the Dragon, which is that's not a terrible price. It's a little bit more than I would want to, but because of the nature of the artwork, I can certainly understand it and just the name attached to it. But the mirrored one being $23.99, really? You make a white blonde Telecaster and put some circular mirrors on it. How hard is that? I don't know. So yeah, the vibe of NAMM has really gone up in recent years, and in the industry, we kind of suffered through a few years there that were really tumultuous, and they were really hard to get through because it seemed like we were facing a lot of challenges uh, over what kind of the next sort of wave of technology um, to what that was going to be. And we didn't know. But now we kind of feel like we have a firm foothold in what to expect next. And because of that, we can move forward and we can be a bit more positive. So thankfully, I don't have a whole lot of negative to say. The one really worst of the last one that I can really think of, and it doesn't have to do with a company, it has to do with the overall like process of being there. Um, I don't know how many of you remember what the situation has been like in previous years, but this year they left badge pickup and security checkpoints sort of off site, away from the convention center. And you used to be able to uh, get into the convention center, you get your badge there, and then you just walk right in. On Friday, because I had gotten my badge on Wednesday, and staff member of mine had gotten hers on Thursday. but my wife came on Friday, and we got there later than we really wanted to. She ended up having to park at Angel Stadium, which is about 2 miles, 3 miles maybe from the convention center, but it took her an hour and a half between finding parking, taking shuttles, going through security, getting badge pickup, and then finally getting to meet me where I was at the Ibanez booth in the convention center. So I must have hung around the Ibanez booth for a good solid 30, 40 minutes just waiting for her to get in. That should not happen. That just shouldn't happen. For as long as NAMM has been going on, that should not happen. BT Dubs, people, I want to give a shout out right now because I see him right now. And we're going to get into that right now to talk about the best of. We got Aljon Go, who, for those of you who watch EVH Gear and TV with Eric Broadbent, he was on Kramer Corner last night. Aljon is the man at Epiphone, Kramer, and Steinberger. And that dude was responsible for making a lot of cool stuff happen for me on the NAMM show. So I want you guys right now, give him a round of applause from wherever the heck you are in this wide, wide world. And he had a lot to do with the vibe that Gibson had at the NAMM show. But that crew, oh my God. So the bad stuff is out of the way. Now let's talk about the good stuff, which has to do with this thing. And it has to do with Gibson, because if you were not at the show and you've been seeing tons of people talk about how Gibson crushed it, Gibson did this, Gibson did that, if you for 1 second doubt any of those comments, you null and void, get out my house, get out my way, because I'm going to fight you to the death on that Terry Funk at Sushi Onita style right now. And I'm going to leave you in a bloody pulp, because Gibson did crushed it. They absolutely floored every single person that went into their room. They floored everybody that walked by. It is Aljon, you'll appreciate this. It's a new day. Yes, it is. He knows what I'm talking about. It is an absolutely new day for this company. And guys, they hardcore legend Sean Funk Johnson over here. Damn straight. Hello, Janice. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Yes, it is new day rocks. I am going to shake my hips a little less on this live stream because it's not that kind of live stream, is it? Do the hip shake. No, I'm not going to do the hip shake. I'm not going to do it. I could throw some cereal around if I had cereal. There's cereal downstairs. But anyway, that's enough. Let's talk about the best of this stuff. So, why did Gibson crush it this year at NAMM? Well, first off, we got our first taste in the public greater gear world of JC, James Curley, the brand new CEO of Gibson. Guys, I'm telling you, this dude was the right choice. He's got it. I heard nothing but good things. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to meet him in person, shake his hand, and just say that I'm behind you guys. But he's the right choice. He's got the right vibe about him. He enjoys the fact that he gets to be a part of this, and I can really tell that from what I saw of him at the show. And that's the best part, is that he seems like the right fit, the right guy for the job. And I could not be happier about that. It's about time that the company had some direction, and in the focusing on the things that Gibson has always done very, very well. And that is make some really rad guitars. So that's one big thing. Their room was very, very, very well laid out. On one side, you had all the Gibson stuff, and on the walls was all these beautiful, oh my God, I will never forget on the Wednesday night VIP event, the image of this one particular Les Paul. Gorgeous, gorgeous heritage cherry sunburst with this gorgeous quilt maple top. People were putting their cards, their business cards on what guitars they were interested in. And that thing from like headstock to bridge was just full of business cards and people just trying to throw them in there to just have a dog's bollocks chance of getting that guitar for their shop. It was just beautiful. Uh, Aaron chiming in, having luthiers doing stuff, that was a fantastic idea. And they were really putting those guitars together at the show. And on the other side, you had Epiphone, you had Kramer, which is coming back. You had Steinberger, which they're going to be doing more with. And man, it was just so good. And it was just so well laid out. They had actual amps there. They had Boss katanas. They had Boss next tones, which was the first time that I actually got to play a next tone. And that amp is just so good. It's just so good. And I love my katana. So this was an absolutely great, great thing to be able to play. And they had one little section for their pro audio, and it was mostly just featuring a new set of KRK speakers. It wasn't full of every other little brand that, for really, if we're going to be splitting hairs, not many people like you guys watching tonight, not many people are going to care about. People want to see the resurgence of the guitar brand. They want to see this. And they crushed it, man. They crushed it. The new Epiphones look really, really cool. Personally, the Vivian Campbell Holy Diver Les Paul from Epiphone caught my eye. Something really, really fierce. Aljon. We're going to be talking about that one. Kramer, holy moly. I liked the Kramer Night Swan way more than I should have. I should not like that guitar as much as I do, and I should not want to play that guitar as much as I do because it is just not my vibe. But holy moly, is that a great guitar. The Steinbergers felt great. I mean, every single thing that I played at that booth was top notch, and everybody there was just so positive, and they were just so upbeat, and they were just so excited, and they were so happy that everybody else was happy. And guys, we're in for a whole new company. This isn't not we're just not gonna like we're not gonna see the old company. We're gonna be seeing it. We're gonna be seeing it. And Aljon and I are working on some stuff to be seeing some of that stuff later on this year. That's part of the new projects. And I am very, very excited about that. And maybe even some things that might pertain to what this could turn into if I were allowed to just go wild, you know? Yeah, it would be fun, wouldn't it? What do you think I could do with that thing? I think I could do a lot of things with it. So yeah, Gibson definitely takes my top of the pops, best of NAMM. It was compared to last year, they weren't there. And they knocked it out of the park twice over. They made up for not being there last year. They made up for the booth that they had a few years ago, which was sadly very underwhelming to a Gibson fan such as myself. So it's a new day, baby. It's a new day. Pancakes and cereal and bootios throwing all over the place. Anyway, so other things that were really cool of NAMM and part of my best of, I got to play some of the new Orange Amp stuff thanks to Charlie. at Orange for arranging that. Charlie Cooper, that is son of founder Cliff Cooper. Great dude. I got to sample the Pedal Baby 100 and the Trem Lord 30. And guys, girls, everybody watching out there, that Trem Lord is the Fender amp I've waited for all my life. I've just not been a Fender amp fan. You know, just they just never really did it for me. But Aid over at Orange has taken that classic American reverb and trem amplifier, and he has just made something really, really great over there. Ew, what did I do there? There it is. That's where we go. I was actually going to talk about that in a little bit, Dan. Yes, Jim Dunlop Sr. sadly passed away, and I got my Tortex 3 here, and this isn't just me playing a Tortex 3 because of old Jim Dunlop. That's me playing it because those are my picks. Those are the picks that I like the most. So I'll raise the coffee to Mr. Dunlop tonight and drink to him and all he's done for us. All right. Thank you, Jim. We always appreciate it. And we always will. I won't forget you. So other best of NAMM things. Well, outside of the Orange stuff, which we will be getting on the show this year. Boy, there was a lot of really great stuff. Caroline Guitar Works and Philippe Herndon. Boy, howdy. I've known Philippe for quite a few years, just communicating with him over social media. Never gotten a chance to play any of their stuff. Janice, thank you for joining in. I really do appreciate it. Hope you have a good night. Meeting Philippe for the first time at this show was really, really great. It was a lot of fun to get the chance to sit down with him and play his pedals for the first time. He's got two new ones. He's got the Megabyte and he's got the Somersault. Oh man, those are that's some good stuff right there. I would love to have some of that in my life. Pardon me. That was not nice. So the Somersault is a lo-fi modulator. It's kind of how they put it. So you can think of it like a lo-fi chorus, and it's just very lush. It's got that really cool kind of CE2-ish vibe to it. It just sounds great, and it feels great, and it plays really great. And to have the guy dialing it in right there, it's fantastic. The Megabyte is sort of an upped version of the Kilobyte. So it's got all that really great kind of lo-fi delay stuff going on. But since it's got some longer delay time, you can get a little bit more lo-fi and a little bit more wacky stuff out of it. So I'm looking forward to it when it finally comes out, and hopefully we'll be able to get that in for a demo. I also tried the Hawaiian Pizza, which I heard about, of course. Great joke, but I had never gotten the chance to play, and that is probably one of the most versatile dirt pedals I have ever seen and played. It is just amazing how you can take those knobs and you can just dial stuff in like crazy, and you end up with something really, really special, which I think is pretty cool. Oh boy, what else could I say is the best of? Because and it's hard to limit it really. I got to hear the Boss tube amp expander, the Waza tube amp expander. I know that there was a lot of confusion about what it was going to be when they started announcing it, which I can certainly understand. It's a very sort of, how shall I put this delicately? It's basically Boss's answer to the aux amp top box. Oh my god, it's the Tone King. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining in. I really do appreciate that. Um, so basically, it's Boss's answer to the UA aux amp top box. So it's got some space for speaker IRs. It's got some stuff for added effects. You can do reverb. You can do delays, EQs, and some post amplifier compression. You can use it as an attenuator. So it's got a lot of really cool different features to it that make it a serious contender in this world of speaker simulators and amplifier attenuators and IR loaders and things like that. It's becoming a huge segment of the market. And we got PDC in here right now. What up, Perfecto? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining in. So I'm really looking forward to it because it really seems like the team at Boss has done 100% of their homework on what's going to make this product really, really special. Now, I do have a video of it from NAMM with Jeff, uh, one of their product specialists, and he knew a lot of things to say about it. He knew exactly what needed to be said and other things. So, because of this, we get a lot of really great information about it, and we also get to hear a lot about it. So, I believe that will be going up sometime tomorrow. I'm trying to put these NAMM videos up at midnight because for those of you in the UK and in any sort of Western European time zone, that puts it at 8 a.m. your time, which I see Doug J. Big hello from England, UK, and hello from Laguna Beach, California. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate that I have a worldwide audience on this one. This is really cool. So I think we're going to be seeing something really special. Aaron, I don't actually know what the price comparison of it is going to be. They didn't have that information available when I asked. It's still, let's see, it's February right now. February, March, April, May. We're looking at like a 3 to 5 month window of when this thing will be ready. So I don't think they want to jump the gun too much and release a preliminary price at the moment. They want to make sure that it's down right. And it's possible that we're going to get one. It's possible. I have friends in high places. I think we might be getting one. I'm going to be very, very excited when we do. So I really enjoyed it. Tone King is saying that he heard about $1,000, which honestly, if that's going to be the price point, if it sounds good, how could you argue with that? The amount of features that this thing has, and you guys will see in the video, and I'll actually go ahead and make that one the one that gets published from NAMM tomorrow. You'll be able to hear. I have a mic running, a condenser microphone, recording a guitar cabinet, and then I have the direct out from the speaker IR that's loaded up, and I crossfade between the audio. $12.99. That's pretty comparable, I think, to the aux. I think the aux is $12.99 as well. But I crossfade between the two audio sources, and I would really like to see how many of you can discern between which one is the source and which source is which. So maybe we'll make a nifty little game out of that. But I'm looking forward to that one. It's something that I could see myself actually using. I know some of you watching will probably be a little miffed if I don't mention Chase Bliss Audio because I am just such a Chase Bliss Audio fan. and probably wanting to know whether or not I got a chance to play the preamp Mark II. Sadly, I did not, which I'm not upset about, because as of right now, there's only one in existence. It's still a prototype. It is not 100% ready. Looking for an extra power cable over here, so don't mind me looking like a fool in here. But it's still a prototype. Don't worry, Tone King. There's nothing on the platform that the coffee cup is on. It's almost empty anyway. So it's still a prototype. And in talking with Joel, and this was one of the reasons why I actually ended up deciding not to cover it, there's a lot of things about it that he wanted to continue working on. And so, out of respect for the fact that he wasn't 100% satisfied with the prototype there, and because he had already thought of so many different things that he would like to change, I just decided that I would refrain from covering it. I respect the hell out of Joel. He is an absolutely great friend and has been very kind to me over the years, so I don't want to not do him justice. And that's basically why I didn't. But I'll tell you what, in the hands of Mason Stoops, stuff sounds pretty dang good. So there's that. They also put out the blooper, or at least they announced the blooper in collaboration with Knobs. I didn't get to hear it. So hopefully very Tone King Joel is Joel Cordy. He's the head honcho over at Chase Bliss. Very good guy, very wonderful person. He's been very big help to me as I've been doing this. So we'll see how things go. I would love to try him out. You know, anything from Chase Bliss, I'm probably gonna like, but it's always going to take some time for me to really get friendly with them and really get to know the products, because they're quite complex. They're not simple pedals. I still have the Therme, which we kind of went over with my buddy Mike Adams in the Christmas special for Stompbox Saturday. And I love that thing. Sounds really good. So we're gonna just see how things go, and I'll probably end up doing my own little demo review ish thing of it sometime this year. Now, let's go ahead and talk about one last best of, and then we'll get on to some other things. I actually have to go into my stinking video manager right now and see all of the videos that I did, because I did so many of them that it's dizzying to remember them. Okay. Let's see. We talked about Gibson. Duh. We talked about Chase Bliss. Duh. Talked about Orange. Duh. Here's one that might have been a little out of left field for you guys. Was I loved the new Friedman Jay Jay Junior, which is a 20-watt version of Jerry Cantrell's signature Friedman amplifier. There we go. That's a little better. So that thing, holy moly. I played the JJ, the full 100-watt version at the LA Amp Show, and man, years ago, that amp stole my heart. And now that they have a 20-watt version, smaller, a little bit more manageable for the studio, it sounds just as good. and I got along so well with that. I'm really hoping that we can work out doing something with them in the near future because, man, Friedman makes some really good stuff. I also have another amp that I'd like to add to the best of, and that is the Rev D20. Uh, oh my God. It is a 20-watt amplifier that does clean, that does crunch, and it has built-in 2 notes torpedo technology. You have 6 different slots to load speaker IRs, simulations into that amplifier. It's a built-in load. You don't have to use a cab if you don't want to. This technology of speaker simulation and things like that is just getting cooler and cooler every year that it is a part of our guitar playing lives. And, if there's a chance that we can get one, I want to get one. Aljon, thank you for joining in, my friend. You need to go get some sleep. Let's talk sometime tomorrow and see what we can do for these people when it comes to Epiphone, Kramer, and Steinberger. Thank you, my friend. Cheers. I did not really get to go to the Marshall room. I was always pulled away from it, Tone King. I did see Phil McKnight's JCM 800 demo where he put it up against the Silver Jubilee, and I was actually quite impressed. Marshall has not been on my radar very much, I hate to say, just because the last few years their releases have just not felt like it's been all right, but there's not been anything that really has blown me away. But if we get the chance to have some Marshall tone at a more manageable platform for, say, the home project studio, I'm all for that. Terry, thank you so much for joining, my friend. Really appreciate it. Take care. We'll do this again sometime. So we'll see about the Marshall. I don't really have any feelings on it, to be honest with you. But the Rev, I'm very excited about that. I played the pedals and I had a great time with it. So Rev is even more on my radar than they were last year. We could go on and on about just how good this NAMM show was. Ibanez just killing it with their AZ range. So many new signature models based off those guitars. The Paul Gilbert PGM 333 has my heart right now. The new Reverend models look so sweet. Thorpe put out the Deep Ogden, which they collaborated with Dan Coggins on, who's famous for doing the Love Tone pedals. Man, I got to play the Hughes and Kettner Black Spirit 200, and I was blown away by how great it felt. Oh my God. The Origin Effects, they're releasing a mini version of the Revival Drive, and they had a prototype, and I played it, and it was probably one of the best amp in a box style pedals I've ever played. It just, I could go on and on. And I think the best thing, and I can say about NAMM is this. And I've been seeing some mentions of PRS, and I do want to actually say that I met with a couple people at PRS. I'm sure you guys saw. I was sort of flabbergasted that Paul Reed Smith walks into this little room where I'm just jamming out, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm interviewing him. Wow, okay. Let me call my people and get the camera in here. So that was Jean at PRS set that up, and Jean's a sweetheart. She's such a nice lady, and that was very nice of her to do that for me. But I like the guitars, as always. And we actually have an interview coming from the PRS booth with Jacko Jaksic of King Crimson. and I'm a huge Crimson fan. So we had a lot to talk about this year, not just his SE Schizoid, but also 50 years of King Crimson. That's enough of that noise. So, excuse me. So I want to sum up NAMM really with this observation. The reason it's starting to feel better at NAMM is because everybody's finally being their authentic selves. When I think about Gibson, when I walked into that room, nobody was putting on a front, acting like nothing had happened. They were owning the fact that what happened to them happened, and they were fully on board with it. And they wanted to make the change, and they wanted to do right by everybody. Fantastic. But every pedal builder that I walk up to, they know what they're doing. They know who they are in the marketplace, and they know what their product is. They're not worried about trying to one up the next guy. They're pretty cool right where they are and pushing the boundaries of what they can do. But when it comes time to try something a little bit outside of their comfort zone, they find somebody that they know that they can trust, and they come together and they collaborate. And that's something that we saw definitely in the Chase Bliss Automaton preamp Mark II with them and Benson amps. We saw it a couple years ago with the Boss Angry Driver with Boss and JHS. There's very, very little like hate in the pedal world. And you don't see a whole lot of you don't see that in a whole lot of other spaces. Even the smaller pedal builders. I see Aaron Albus Band is asking about Mike. He's talking about Mike Trombley of Native Audio, a great new pedal builder with a really great aesthetic, and he's just working on some really cool stuff. The delay sounds very cool. I didn't get a very good listen to it, but the little bit that I heard, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more. But I started seeing that authenticity and that strength of who they are as a company and as a brand start to creep into the amp world this year. And it was the first year that I had heard that. And it happened when I was visiting the guys at Victory Amps, and they were saying how they need the big amp companies to be big as they are. Because if those larger companies are secure, it's good for their business. And that's much the same with the pedal world. If uh, Boss is very strong, that means that the pedal world can be strong. Because if Boss is consistently putting out new product, it's sort of it's legitimizing things that smaller pedal builders do. And because of that feeling, I think that's what's really making pedals and making the gear world so good to be in right now. We're seeing companies putting out great products. We're seeing companies putting out really great content on their own, but then they're partnering with people like myself. They're partnering with people like, some of the people I was on the Epiphone panel with, Agu Fish, Samurai Guitarist, Guitar Goddess, Tyler from Music is Win. They're talking to guys like Tone King. They're talking to Steve from Boston. They're giving nods to guys like Glenn Fricker, Henning Pauly. They're reaching out to guys that do pedals like Eric at Living Room Gear Demos and Stephen at the Pedal Zone. they're starting to realize the value of building this really cool community around what they do. And that's kind of what we're doing here right now. And what we touched on that Epiphone panel was building a community. I want you guys to be as much a part of this as I am. This is one space for us to get together, but there's tons of different channels here, tons of different people who create content on their own. And it's so cool that we can communicate this way. And that's something that I'm really enjoying seeing. It's okay for there to be competition. It really is, but it's just as important to me that the competition is healthy. And it's important to me that, for example, Ben leaving a comment, really love this community, so welcoming, and that's what I want to do. It's what I want to make this. Ben has me on a live stream sometime last year before Christmas. I honestly did not know of Ben's YouTube channel, but he asked me to do it, and I checked it out, and I really enjoyed his format. So we did the live stream together, and here we are, like, sitting on this live stream chat. We're chatting like buds. We had been Facebook friends for a little while, so we vaguely knew that each other was into guitar, and we vaguely knew what was going on. But we've become friends because of this kind of community. Going to events like GitCon, being invited to events like TGU, getting to meet other content creators, and realizing we all kind of have this similar goal. But then partnering with companies, finding KMA audio machines, Chase Bliss Audio, and even Boss. We get this chance to interact as people, and we're all, to sound very hippie, we're all kind of in this together at some point, and we all kind of come together, and we see what we can make of this crazy journey. And the more support that's around for everybody and what we do, the better everybody else gets, because we can all learn something from someone. I hate this idea of like one person is better than the other, because I do one thing, somebody else does something, and they do that something better than I can do. I'm not an ambient player, so if you guys want to hear really good ambient, go to Stephen at the Pedal Zone. Stephen is not a riffer and high gain guy, so he's usually like, I usually defer to you for the high gain stuff to see how it does. So that means a lot to me. And to that end, I want to do this weekly, and we'll talk like this weekly. We'll talk about topics, we'll talk about things that are in the news, so to speak, not like news of the day like you would watch on, network television or cable news, because that's just, we don't need that kind of negativity in our lives, do we? I didn't think so. We really don't need that. But we need to be talking about music. We need to make a positive impact, and that's what I'm hoping to do here, and hoping you guys will be along for the ride. I'm seeing some comments come in, and I don't want to leave everybody in a lurch. See, we got Timothy Mueller joining in. Thank you so much for joining in, Timothy. My voice is a little shot right now. I haven't been drinking the water like I should be. But at the end of the day, I just want to be doing something really cool. I just want to be doing something that makes people feel like they got something out of it. And there's been a lot of you watching tonight. I'm seeing 10 of you watching right now, 9 of you watching. I guess somebody didn't like the positive message that I was going with there. But Dan, thank you so much for joining in. I really do appreciate it. Come back next week. But I want to give you guys something that you feel like you got some value out of. And to that end, there's something that we can all do to help each other. I want to let you guys know that I've officially started the Patreon page for this whole thing. So if you guys want to become contributors and you want to help me continue to build this community and do some different kinds of content, please go over to patreon.com/Sean Pierce Johnson, just like it is here on the YouTube channel. And I would love to have some of you guys help me keep making this content. I'm trying to work on the tiers. I've got 3 of them right now. There's not a whole lot that I can really say about them other than what's already there. I tried to make those 3 have some variety to them, and hopefully the benefit and the reward is justifiable for the level of contribution, which if you're able to give, I greatly appreciate it. But I want to get feedback on it as well. So if you want to let me know your thoughts, you can contact me through the Patreon, or you can actually find a way to email me here on the YouTube channel. And I'd love to get to know your feedback. So please, yeah, I haven't put it in the info yet, but I will be putting it in there very soon. But the Patreon has officially started. And to kind of let you guys know, one thing that does happen is, and I should have done this at the top of the video, really, or I should have done it when more people were watching, is every time you become a patron, I'm going to shout you out and give you a moment in the sun because you deserve it. You're helping me do this. So I had my first patron come in, and it is James David Holt. Buddy, I know you've been watching for a long time. I see you on Facebook. I see you on Instagram. I see you here on the channel. So I cannot thank you enough for becoming a patron. It really means the world to me. We're going to do some really cool stuff. So if you guys would give James David Holt a thank you. And I want to thank you guys whenever you become a patron as well. No matter what you choose to contribute, you deserve to have the recognition of being someone that helps me do this stuff. So now, to wrap this thing up, because it has been going for an hour, 17 minutes, and 24 seconds, let's talk about a couple new projects and then get out of the way. One moment, please. Yeah. Oh, you guys know what this is, right? It's a bass guitar. A Warwick rock bass, to be specific. But the reason I bring this out is because one of the projects we are going to be working on for 2019 is a little something that I like to call the Guitarist's Guide to Bass. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because I've noticed a huge amount of people, guitar players, that is, that don't really get bass at all. And I've been having to do some stuff with bass recently, and thus getting this bass from Warwick. And I want to help you guys as guitar players get a grip on what bass is really all about. I want to help you guys understand some playing techniques that I've picked up over my years of having to get into playing bass a little bit more. Everything from like your standard, doing like your normal finger walking kind of stuff, to, of course, we have our pick style a la Paul McCartney. a la Lemmy. Or a guy like Chris Squire. I'm going to work on roundabout, actually, when we go over that. Thumb style, which I like a lot. And just in general, how you as a guitar player can start to get to know our 4-stringed or 5-stringed or 6-stringed friend a little bit better. Because contrary to what you might be thinking, this is a bit different of an animal than the electric guitar. So we're going to be focusing on that as a series. Right now, I have about 4 or 5 video ideas of things that we can talk about when it comes to getting to know the bass guitar. And I've been having a lot of fun with this bass. This is really a nice bass. This is just direct, by the way, mostly using the Solid Studio on a Bassman cab with a Beta 52. Ben, thank you so much. We're almost done, but I really appreciate you staying for this whole thing. Thank you so much. Really means a lot that you stayed up this late. But it's a great feeling bass, and I'm looking forward to showing you guys a few different ideas of what you can do when it comes to the bass guitar. So it'll be the Guitarist's Guide to Bass. The last one that we're going to be working on is another series. Pick up one other guitar for this one. Pick up my Ramos for this. Is a little something that I'm going to coin for the time being Songcraft Academy. Now, the reason I want to do this is because I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys. Not a lot of, a good majority of people asking about riffs, songs, songwriting, how I do the thing, and what I do to do the thing. And so when it comes to stuff like this, or stuff like or more atmospheric-y kind of things, such as how did I get to those ideas? How did I get to those songs? How did I get to those riffs? And what went into crafting these songs and these riffs and these ideas? And so that's something that I want to explore, is showing you guys, not from an academic standpoint, but from a practical standpoint, what it means to write songs with the electric guitar. I want to demystify this because everybody thinks that songwriting is a talent that is just God-given. And I will attest, when I was younger, I could not write songs. I was very bad at it. I was not good when I started. It takes absolute practice. It takes time. It takes hours of trying over and over again to get something right. And finally, it all falls into place and everything works. So we will be having what I hope to be sort of shortened lesson plan of that, just kind of diving in so that you get the basic concepts of it. Maybe going to be like a 8-part series on that. But of course, once these videos start rolling out, um, you'll be able to give me your feedback and you'll be able to let me know what you think. And that will be in addition to demos. That will be in addition to more live streams. That'll be in addition to vlogging. And that'll be in addition to so many things to do. And on that note, because it has been almost an hour and a half, and I would like to go take a shower, wash the stench of the day off, and start chilling out and get all these lights out of my face. I want to thank you all for joining me here tonight for the first live weekly live stream. Can't talk anymore. Maybe this is a good idea to end now. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly, greatly appreciate you wherever you are in this world, spending your time watching. I want to give you guys one last chance to maybe ask a question before we head out. I know, Aaron, Albus, yes, it is late, so you need to get to bed. Please let me know if you have any questions. If I don't get to your question before the live stream ends, I will get to it after the comments are I'm able to finish all the stuff with the uploading and whatnot, and I will answer your questions. At the end of this all, thank you so much for joining me. It means a lot that so many of you stuck around for this whole thing. There's a bunch more NAMM stuff to come. There's going to be, boy, howdy. There's going to be a lot of busy stuff this year, but I hope it's all going to be good. And I hope you guys will come along for the ride. So the way you do that, please click the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and support on Patreon. And I will say this to end us for now, until we see each other next week. I wish you all great tone and happy stomping. Have a good night, my friends. Thank you so much.